Here comes Kristian Campbell, Geoff, number 4 overall prospect on Baseball America's list. He is making the opening day roster for the Red Sox. Some of this plays into the drama we had earlier in spring training with Rafael Devers saying, no, 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 third base is me. And then eventually saying, team guy, let's do what we got to do here to win. So Bregman's at third. What do you see for Campbell from day one?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I think that if you were around the Red Sox and you spoke with the organization and the team and people in all different departments, I think just the praise was just nonstop, sort of effusive for Campbell all throughout last year and kind of heading into the offseason. And I had gotten the vibe that there was a really good chance, as long as he was healthy, showed up to camp in shape and did enough in camp, that he would ultimately win out on the second base job and hold it down for a while. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see a guy that hits for average, hits for some power, is versatile in the field, is athletic enough to make some highlight reel plays in the field, and offensively as well, can run a little bit, just does all the little things really well. And I think with the addition of Alex Bregman plus Kristian Campbell, you've kind of answered one of the biggest question marks around this lineup and this offense last year, which is sort of where is, the clutch right-handed hitting, where is the good right-handed hitting, where's the right-handed power? And now neither of these guys are 30 home run threats probably. I do think you're going to see a lot of doubles and plenty of sort of monster home runs for both Campbell and Bregman. And I think the Red Sox have now done a good job of, finding internal and external resources to kind of answer those questions.
And I would just add to that the thing that also jumps out here is, I know that Campbell, if you look at his overall slash line, looks pretty ugly this spring, but he really had a rough start to the spring, and it didn't seem like he was, really comfortable at the plate. Really seemed a little bit, his timing seemed a little bit off. And as the spring's gone along, he's shown better at bats. I would still not expect it to be much of a problem. I would expect him to hit pretty much, again, there may be a little bit of adjustment. If a veteran has a rough couple of first weeks, no one kind of says anything. If a rookie does, you ask, is he really here? Is he ready to contribute? But I would expect Campbell to hit the ground running. And the thing that Geoff mentioned here, you talk about the defense, the defense, but also would say the defensive versatility. This is a guy that, if you want to give David Hamilton a game at second, well, he can slide elsewhere. He can play in the outfield if you want him to. He could even play, third or short for a day if you needed to. So you've got some versatility here, in addition to the fact that he should really hit.
So how much better do you think this makes the Red Sox on day one than what we thought it was going to look like at the beginning of spring training, JJ? Because we did have the Devers drama, and there was a sense that he was going to win that battle, at least for many. Not me, actually. I'm often wrong, but I was right on that one, battling against my former player hosts on Foul Territory. I was like, this team is better with Alex Bregman at third. I get that he could probably play second, but do we really need to have him learn a new position right now? So anyway, when you project forward here, what this team looks like as they're trying to get back into playoff mode, do you think this is a huge win for them the way it played out?
Yes. And the other thing I would say with that is that it's not just him. We can talk about Roman Anthony. We can talk about Marcelo Meyer. The thing that adding Bregman also helps for this. I feel like if you look at the Red Sox last year, their biggest problem is anytime they lost a regular, they really felt it when Trevor Story missed time, when Tristan Casas missed time. The answers, the guys who filled in after that, were replacement level or worse players. They were guys who were giving them nothing. This year, they have kind of an answer. Maybe catcher would be the one position that position player wise is a little bit weaker, but they have 5 or 6 outfield options that are legit. Like, okay, this guy could be a regular if you need him to. They have a plan B and in some cases a plan C at every infield spot, I would say as well. And with Devers, moving him, adding a great defensive third baseman and moving a poor defensive third baseman who can really hit to DH also is a win. So I do feel like that this team is a lot deeper and stronger this year. And they're my pick actually. We just did our MLB predictions. I've got them in the World Series, which may be a little bit aggressive, but I do think that this is a team that has the ability to do that.
Wow. You just got some Red Sox fans very excited, JJ. You are a smart man. It is not easy to predict baseball winners, obviously, but especially playoff wise. But You want to elaborate on that for a quick second on why, now you think overall this team has enough? I would say, especially on the pitching side, you think that they did enough this offseason plus what they have makes this team able to get through October and into the World Series?
I think if they can get there and everyone stays healthy, Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck is fine to be kind of the front of a rotation to me in the playoffs. The real question is going to be, do they have enough pitching depth? They may not. They may not right now. But the thing that I would say with that, and Geoff, you even know this better than I do, I feel like if you get to June or July, especially July, and it's like, okay, this team's a pitcher or two short, there is plenty of depth here. There's plenty of ammunition to make moves. We saw that with the Crochet trade, where that was trading away two elite prospects in Kyle Teal and Braden Montgomery, but those were not their. That's not the core three. That was the core four. Now it's the core three, but that was kind of taking their fourth and fifth prospects. You talk about the David Sandlins of the world. You talk about there's enough pitching here, I think, in the minors as well to at least be good trade chips.
Yeah, I think you can look at that, just overall the depth of the system on the position side. We haven't really talked about anyone like, John Tinson, Garcia, who's obviously been a pretty strong player in his own right. And I think once you get to that point in the season that you pointed out, JJ, June or July, you're also looking at a potential additional acquisition window coming up in the draft where you're going to then be able to sort of backfill some of that depth again in this year's draft, with a decent bonus pool. So, and they've done a good job. I think, you have to give the Red Sox credit of, identifying talent, particularly even outside of round one over the last couple of years, as, they've nailed a few of these picks. So, yeah, I think just overall, they're in a really good position right now to not only deal from a place of strength, but they also have a lot of pitching that I think is on the come up. And one that, outside organizations seem to be honing in on now after, sort of it not being a point of emphasis for teams coverage over the last couple of years. I think, Red Sox pitching could hold the key, some of these pitching prospects to potentially acquiring more arms in the future.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if they go far, especially with the prospects we're talking about this year, I'm going to continue to shout out Chaim Bloom's name because Cardinals fans don't know what they're getting, but at least, most of these guys over the last several years, that's coming from the last group, right? The names we're bringing up, that's not from this group. This group's brand new. It's one season in. Obviously, they've done good things, but he was asked to kind of rebuild the farm system. And I got to say, the Red Sox have a really damn good farm system. So he did a good job on that front. Cardinals fans, you can get excited because maybe you're up next to kind of rehash what's going on there. Anyway, let's bring up a comment from someone watching live right now. There it is, Dan. Baseball's in a great place, in my humble opinion. So many young stars like Witt Jr., Gunnar, etc. And as you mentioned, Rayner and Griffin really improving.
I want to add to that we have a piece going up Thursday on the website, baseballamerica.com. We are in another golden age of shortstops, and we've seen this multiple times now in the 21st century. If you're old like me, you remember a time where a good shortstop was someone who fielded really well, batted eighth, and you hope that they hit 240 with no power. And now you look at it and you say, if your shortstop's not one of the better hitters in baseball, then they're not one of the elite shortstops. Mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. there, which, by the way, I love the WHITT. It's not Ernie Witt Jr. That would be great. Shout out for the Blue Jays there. But Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, you got to put Ellie De La Cruz in that as well. You look at this young core, then you look at the still productive, shortstops like Francisco Lindor, like Corey Seager, guys like that. It's a really great time for shortstops. It's not the best time for some other positions. I think it's a little weaker in the corner outfield spots. First base, man, where did all the DHs go? But part of that, I think, is that we're seeing so much athleticism now in the game. We're seeing the best players are playing the premium defensive positions. And also part of that is guys are being allowed to play there. Like when we talk about, I feel like in an earlier era, it's not crazy to think that Gunnar Henderson might have been a third baseman. It's not crazy to think that Ellie De La Cruz might have been a center fielder, because was anyone going to let a 6'5", 6'6" guy play shortstop? The Reds have, and they're reaping the benefits of it.